Hello, third grade. Today we are going to begin the clay production of our Aztec Sun. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to roll out the slab that I give you. I'm just going to use the rolling pin. Roll different ways. Might want to pick it up to check the thickness. That still could use to be a little bit thinner in spots. You don't want it to be paper thin. Because it will definitely break and you will not be able to use it very well, but you definitely need it thinner than the slab that I give you. Just keep on rolling until it looks like it's about, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch thick. You're not going to need a ruler to measure it, but you just kind of want to eyeball it and get it to be the right thickness. So I'm going to say that actually looks pretty good. All right, so you don't want to paper thin. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to use 2 lids, one larger and one smaller. The first larger one I'm going to use to actually show you're going to use a cutting tool or a line to draw the line. You're not going to push on this and try to use that and say, oh, that's how I cut it out. That's not how we do it. The reason why we don't do it like that is it's going to get stuck on the inside of this lid, and then you're going to rip it out, and then you're going to have to start all over. So I'm going to just cut it out, or just trace a line. I'm not cutting. There you go, and that looks like a perfect circle. And then I'm going to actually, I could cut it out. See that as a tracer. And we're definitely going to need these pieces here, so don't get rid of them too quick. Okay, so that's going to be the shape of my sun. Then you're going to need a smaller circle for where the face is going to go. Now this one you're definitely not going to push through. You definitely don't want a hole. You definitely need to keep that. So I'm going to just draw a line here so I know where to keep the face. Okay, so it's going to be like that. Now some of you might want another circle in there. You don't necessarily need one, but you can if you want. And then you can have 2 layers of the rays if you want. Let's see. So next thing we're going to do is after you have the 2 circles, you can make any design you want. I want you to create your own design. I'm just going to design, and I'm not going to do the whole thing because otherwise it's going to take too long. I don't have that quick motion like we saw on the Mexican video. And I'm going to do a fancy one. You can do just a regular one like that if you want. Just doesn't even have to connect. It can be like that. Any way you like it. I'm doing kind of like a flowerish kind of theme. And then you can cut it out using your clay tool. You can draw it with the clay tool, use any tool you want. And then you're going to remove those just like we saw in the video. All right. Okay, so then that's the sun. Now we're going to look at the face. Now there's different ways you can do the face. You can do it any way you want. You can do some eyes on it, any kind of eyes you want, any kind of expression you want. I'm going to do some eyes on mine. I'm just going to draw in the eyes. I want to use some additive and subtractive methods. So subtractive means we took it out, like we took out those corners. So there's my subtractive. Definitely want to do some additive as well. Okay, so I just did some eyes like that. And a little eyelid and some eyelashes. Like that. And then for the nose, I'm going to show you how to do additive. Now, additive is a little different because you have to do something called slip and score. This is your slip. Slip is kind of like a glue. All it is watered down clay. And score is you make little hatch marks where you want to put something like that. You have to put the hatch marks on both sides. Let's say I want to make the nose. I'll make a nose. Just cut that off like that. Maybe I'll squish it into the shape of a nose like that and like that. And I want to put that on there by scratching both sides. If you don't scratch both sides, you may find that it comes off in the kiln. It might even come off before I put it in the kiln. And if you want it to stay, which I do, I don't want the nose to be removable, I'm going to scratch both sides. I already scratched the surface of my sun. I'm going to scratch the back. And then I'm just going to put on, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually add what's called the slip, which is kind of like a glue. And what it does is it grooves in there, and that grooves in there that makes a nice firm hold. I'm not just going to glue it in there. I'm going to actually kind of push it into place. And then I'm sure that it definitely will not be going anywhere anytime soon. Uh-oh, I lost the eye. Not a big deal. I can redraw that eye in there, just like that. I want to draw a little pupil in there too. Okay, so there's the eye, nose, mouth. All right, so I don't have a mouth on it. I can draw a mouth on it, or I can do another slip and score on the mouth if I want. That's a really big nose. Let me chunk some of that off. So that's a good thing about clay. If you don't like what you did, you can actually rearrange it to make it look the way you want it to look. And you can never tell that the nose was too big before. And I feel like it definitely needs some eyebrows. Definitely doing some eyebrows like that. Do a mouth. You can make it look the way you want. I want you to use your own creative choices to make some cool stuff. So I'm gonna do the lips. Oh, I didn't scratch anything. Don't forget, you have to scratch. Scratch, 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 scratch. Slip, slip, slip. Slip and scores. This is the slip, the score is the lines. And there's the mouth. You can use your fingers, you can use your tools. I do have a lot of good tools that we can use. If you're at home and you're live streaming this, you can use plastic forks, spoons, anything that you have at home will work. Okay, and when it's done, I'm going to actually give it kind of like a brow. I'm going to push it in, and I'm going to carve some of that out where underneath the eye. I lost that again. I keep on losing the eyelids. It's looking like a fish. Thanks. So you get to rework it as many times as you want. And when you're done, make sure your name is on the back. You might say, oh, I can't write my name on the back. Absolutely you can. You can use a pencil or a scratch tool, but you must scratch your name in the back. Mrs. Ensberry. And if I was actually to finish this, I would put my name. Now, you will have a couple days to get to this point where you're done and you have everything cut out. So if I were to use different, which I think looks a little bit silly, I probably wouldn't do this, but having different kinds of rays throughout, you can if you want. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just continue with the same kind of ray. When you're done, it's going to need to dry out, and then we're going to be able to add glaze to it. And you can still add cheeks. I know we saw some Aztec faces did have cheeks. You could push them up. You can actually use your fingers to do that. Or you could add clay to it. I'm just going to push it up. I kind of like doing that. The side of this actually is a good tool for that. It kind of pushes stuff in and up. You can give it like little... Not as profound as the cheeks that we saw over there. His lips are looking a little bit goofy. I might want to change that up. I want you to play around with it and enjoy the process, and have a good day.